welcome everybody to the show. And today we have with us Mr. DC Sekhar. He is the founder of a company named AlphaMers. So today we are going to talk about his company and about him as well. So first of all, thank you for giving us the time, sir.
Good morning, Ganesh. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. So before going to the actually company's work, AlphaMers, so for our audience, just give us a little bit of a background.
Okay, I'm a very ordinary guy. I was in the Merchant Navy for many years. Over 20 years, I was a captain for some time. Then I was working, doing some risk management in Singapore. I studied finance management in Singapore and executive management at IM Bangalore. And we started some of our work here. Initially, we did not get into design technology development. We were doing some routine services while we were establishing ourselves here. And then about 5 years back, we started developing technologies. And we figured out that we are doing very good at that. And then one thing followed the other, and we are here.
Yeah. So, like, what is your technical background? So you were in the Merchant Navy, right? So what kind of a bachelor's degree you have, like in science or in any other field?
Okay, let me tell you very candidly, I am 10+2, but I studied very well.
Wow. This is very interesting.
Okay, that's not the whole story. Let me tell you, we passed one of the most competitive examinations for Merchant Navy after my 12th and joined there. It's an operational work, but of course you have certain science and of spherical trigonometries and all those things. That's an operational job, essential, Merchant Navy, the executive side. Yes, but I was a thinker. You don't need to be an engineer to innovate. Let me first clarify that. Human mind can imagine. Human mind can see, learn, and imagine. And there is two parts of any innovation. One is conceptualization. The second part is the engineering part. When I close my eyes, I imagine how the forces will come, how the forces will act, how whatever I've designed will react. And there are always engineers who can put numbers to that, the sizes to that, the scantlings, the FEAs, and all those technical parameters. Engineer has knowledge, I have imagination. You need a little bit of both.
Yeah, right. So basically at the end, it's about solving a problem. Engineering.
Solving a problem.
Yeah. Engineering profession is all about that. You just, whether you are an IT engineer or mechanical engineer or civil engineer, these are just tools. At the end, you have to have the urge to solve the problem. That's what matters the foremost.
I will say that's a motivation. But let me not say engineering has got any less importance. It's a lot of knowledge you gather. And the knowledge helps to apply, to take an idea to a fabrication shop floor. My idea, I cannot go and say, make a plate like this and make a plate like that. I can explain it to my team and say, this is going to be our approach. This is the way the forces will work, and this is the way it's going to behave. And they take that idea and then design it until a fabricator can take the design and make it.
Yeah. So you started AlphaMers about what, 5 years back?
Actually, the company is 2010 incorporated, but we got into technology development just around 5 years back.
Okay. So basically you like tools development you started 5 years back. Before that, what you were like, what was the stuff like, how
we were doing marine environmental impact assessment. We were doing techno-feasibility studies of waterfront projects. We were doing oil spill response services. Those are things that many other people are very specialized, but there are many people doing all those things. And somewhere along the line, we realized that, look, we are good at developing technology. Our imagination is as good, if not better, than anywhere in the world. And one thing led to the other, and we found that you don't think you are doing something great at the outset. But after some time looking around, you realize that other people are not doing as good. So that means that you're doing good.
Yeah. So like, for now, just tell us what AlphaMers do in brief. So we'll go into detail later, but for now, just tell us in brief, like what AlphaMers do.
We are developing technology furiously, solving problems one after the other as it comes to us. One of the first things we started off is cleaning rivers. river surface to be exact, and that has got more written about and spoken about. But otherwise, we have developed technology to remove silt from the bed. We have developed technology to convert ocean wave energy to usable forms. I have a bucket list of probably 10 different things that I still want to do, time and money permitting. You see, we are a bootstrapped company. We are not funded company. So I have my freedom to do what I want to do. But at the same time, our financial canvas is not very big. And this is not an area where you can scale up like a software company. It's not putting more servers and issuing more licenses. Here, each and every thing is hardware and different environment. There's a sharp learning curve. So the scaling up happens organically.
Yeah, so I will come to that business point as well, because I just interviewed a couple of days back one of the climate entrepreneurs who was solving the energy problem with biogas. So he gave me the same problem itself. So we'll talk about that later. But so right now you are big into cleaning rivers, right? That's what got featured in the CNBC video.
Yes, that's what is more written and spoken about. What other things we are doing is still not so much in the public media.
Okay, so since that is in the public domain itself, so let's start with that. So that was that your first project for AlphaMers, cleaning the rivers?
We did this something around 2015. We tested a small sample, what is running inside my head, that this is the design that will work. And we made a small prototype, scaled down prototype, checked it, it worked as anticipated. And then one by one, we are here today with deploying it in bigger rivers now.
Okay, so why with rivers? Why did you start with cleaning the river? Because there are so many environmental problems, right? If you can just use the taxi itself, there are so many problems.
Yeah, okay, let me explain that. One is because I was so many years in the merchant navy, I understand water naturally. I heard a corporation engineer speak to his colleague saying that until it is lying on the ground, we can somehow, the fugitive plastic packet, which is lying on the road, you can do something, you can get it out. But once it reaches the water, then it is out of control. You can't do anything about it. When I heard this, I was surprised. I knew I have a role to play because I believe when it comes to the water, only then it comes under control. I will explain to you how. If you trace the journey of a plastic packet that somebody just throws on the road, it lies there, the wind takes it a little bit here and there. And the first big rains, it will go into the nearest drain. And from the small drain to the big drain, to the stream, to the river, long dimensional journey until it reaches the river mouth. Once it reaches the river mouth, it goes into the sea. There's again a two-dimensional spread. And after some time, it breaks down and goes down into three-dimensional spread. Becomes microplastics. So according to me, if you look at it logically, from a two-dimensional spread on the ground to the water, unidimensional long journey, the unidimensional journey is when is the best time to catch it and remove it. The cost will be less. My belief is let the water bring the trash and plastics to where you want to collect it. Don't go in a boat, don't go in a vehicle and spend money to and fuel to go and collect it. The water will bring it right where you're standing. That is why there's a big difference in approach in cleaning a river and a lake. In case of a river, there is no energy. The systems are passive systems. The water will bring it to where you like to collect. But in case of a lake, since the water is not predominantly flowing, it's stopped. You will have to take a boat and spend something on the fuel and collect it. That's the difference.
Okay, so the flow of the river helps.
Yes. And because the river water is flowing, you should not be spending anything to put in a boat. Like there are some boats with conveyors, which is there. I believe that's not a very smart idea. First of all, the boat can only pick up what is in front of it. It cannot go 100 meters on its sides. And the boat only operates when there is no rain, in the daytime, good visibility, all that. Whereas if you put a barrier across 24/7, whether it is raining or sunshine, it will stop all the trash, bring it to the side, to the river bank. Another smart thing we did was we put it diagonally instead of perpendicular. I'm still surprised why people put it perpendicular to the flow, because all the trash gets collected in the center. And then they put another boat to bring it to the river bank. Long time back, we decided we put it diagonally so that the trash comes next to the river bank. You're using river bank based vehicles to lift it off directly from the river bank. That makes it very low cost on a per ton basis.
And even if you put it directly perpendicularly, it will put a lot of force of water on the your what you use for
the actual force is not different. The total drag force
that's
is according to the width of the river, and it's actually depending on the design. What has happened is many people have put solid fabric booms across. That is good for oil spill response, because in oil you cannot put a mesh in the water because oil will escape. But when it comes to trash in a river, if you put the solid fabric, the underwater portion gets pushed, drag forces are tremendous, and it will fall, flip to the front. And in any case, the skirt, it will escape. You cannot stop flowing water by putting a hanging fabric in the water. The drag forces are too much. So I'm surprised how many people with a lot of funds make that mistake. I call it the curse of overcapitalization. They are rushing to a prototype without thinking through.
Okay, so that's your approach right now. You put a mesh, right, through the river.
It's a floating mesh. It has got buoyancy, it has got ballast, so there's hydrostatics involved, hydrodynamics involved. But it looks very simple, but it's fit for the job.
Yeah, I saw the actual prototype as well. That actually looks so simple and does a tremendous job. So my question to you is, like, once that garbage gets collected, what do you do after that?
I step out of the scene after that.
Okay.
The reason is I'm good at arresting this trash in the water and bringing it right up to the river bank. And after that, whether you have the excavators, you have the conveyors, trucks, there are many people with these kind of resources who can take. There are many people who will help you process these things. The municipality has got the expertise to process these trash plastics. I leave it to them. We go on to make better solutions in the water, which somehow not many other people are able to do. So we confine ourselves to that. Now we have made conveyors where one end is floating on the water in the river and the other end is on the land. So we are using these conveyors, using electrical power to run these conveyors. Soon we'll be running this with the flow of the river water.
Okay, so you work with local governments for the trash collected, right?
Municipal corporations, the municipalities, they have the solid waste management facilities. And to be fair to them, they are also doing a very hard job, not easy. Yeah, I work with them. So I work with the CSR, sorry.
So basically, like whenever climate entrepreneurs talk about solutions, so they have to take into account what kind of energy they are using, right? They don't to use electrical energy which is gotten from burning the coal, right? Because that just, it's counteractive, right? You're solving one problem, but you're creating another problem for the nature. So how you tackle that?
Our effort has been to use the natural flow of the river water to do our job. Now, until we bring it right up to the river bank, it's just a natural flow of the water. Now we are going to be using that after some time to even remove it and load the trucks. The trucks have to move with some fuel in it. We are doing a good job, but we are not doing a miracle in that sense. With the limitations, the grid power that comes to us. Yes, you're right. At somewhere else, coal is burning and there is a cost to get the electrical power here. We are trying to minimize the use of that electrical power. The worst thing you can do is send a boat into the water with burning diesel. Definitely, we have got an answer to
Yeah, so that's the same thing I was talking about. So right now, what is the scale of AlphaMers? Like how many rivers we have deployed your tools?
Okay, we are in 8 cities, and there is inquiries from many more. One thing is each of this river is different. The flow is different, the depth is different, the gradients are different, the speed of water is different. So one by one, you have to customize. There's a big customization element in whatever we do. Though there are similarities, but still a big customization element. So yes, there is inquiries from right from Jammu and Kashmir to Guwahati to Gujarat.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
the CNBC video gave you some boost with marketing.
Yes, it is like this. Let me put it like this. An overseas product has got a better brand value because of the country's brand value. If you get a product from Europe today, it's already half accepted that it is working in the people's mind because of the brand value they have built up over the decades. What we saw is many of the solutions, their workmanship will be invariably good, the quality control will be good, but it may or may not be the smartest way of solving the problem. The underlying concept of the design is not always very smart. They are good. Some of them are not, to be fair. But all of them, workmanship, quality, the appearance, the cosmetic, everything is very good because they are normally funded projects. So they fund a good idea and a bad idea lavishly. That's the difference. In India, we are quite the other way.
Yeah, I saw in that
Money is not.
video itself, like there like before your part comes, there are like 2-3 startups who are working in that sector. One of them from Europe, one of them from USA, and in that video itself, they say that it's very costly to deploy their solution.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we work. Let me say, before I take a solution to the market, we have thought through 100 times. And a lot of designing happens right inside my head. I cannot afford to do many costly prototypes to learn. Prototypes take time and money. And the human mind is a fantastic design machine. We make the full use of that. So my prototype, when I put it in the water, almost 70% of it will work as expected and 30% will be a learning. So we have to do that. So when I take something to the market, let's face it, Indian psychologically, funding is not very easy to come by. People don't fund ideas here. In fact, people can be very cruel in calling it jugaad and all those things. Because they don't give you money and then they'll say some, I hate that word jugaad. Because he is an innovator who has not been supported. Right? Okay, so we have the pressure that when we ask for some assignment, forget funding, support, or grant and all that. When we ask to for PIT to be utilized, for somebody to buy our solution, before that, the solution has been validated beyond doubt. That's the reality. So risk is entirely ours. So we do think through. When we take it to the market, it has to satisfy the client. Its core problem should be solved. I cannot sugarcoat it with artificial intelligence and machine learning and throw some big words and try to sell it. It doesn't work. I have to solve the core problem. If I put something in the water, that must be able to stop the trash. If it doesn't do, never mind how many sensors and telemetries and whatever I do, it's not going to impress the client. It has to do the job. It has to do it cost effectively.
Yeah, so like in generally, we Indians are very price sensitive, right? So does it help in some way? Just like you can do the same thing, like you are stopping the trash coming into the rivers, right? Within like what 1/100th of what those people are doing. So even though we are very price sensitive, but does it help? Like in the same case with our ISRO as well, right? We put a satellite into the Mars orbit within the less cost of a movie Gravity. So does it help?
Yes, it helps me. I will tell you why I need this competition. because when I give them something that works and tell them the price, there is not so much of protest. I need a comparison.
Yeah. So
I need benchmark. You heard of price discovery? People have a price discovery is something you don't know the price of something. You're trying to establish what is the price.
right.
Yeah. So some of this overseas products softens up the idea of people. And when they come to me, they're pleasantly surprised. All I have to show them that this works very well.
Yeah.
They're ready for the price anyway, much more than that.
Yeah. So that's a good thing for you. So like,
I like it. I like my competition to be like that.
so right now you are completely profit-based company, right?
Yeah, we are a for-profit company.
Like the reason I asked about funding is that right now you are in 8, 9 cities, right? So if you want to scale up, you need some sort of funding, right? So if you have funding, you can be a bit relaxed.
No, not like that. I'll tell you my wish list. We have plastic credit arrangement to sell our plastic credits. We are adopting a distributorship model. We are taking some of these things because our problem is basically cash flow cycles. So far, we have been working with the government sector. The government sector is a very big client. If you make a needle or you make a train, the government can buy it. But it's a very system-based approach, procedure-based approach. So the cash flow cycles can be long, which can be a bottleneck to scaling up. So we are changing our model where we are trying to insulate ourselves from those cash flow cycles.
Yes,
so that we.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because that is the reason why most of the companies go for funding, so that they can just focus on the building technology and all this kind of thing, and don't worry about.
In fact, we want to. I'll tell you, we want to get out of the business aspect of it, and we want to get into only developing the technology and selling the technology rather than the product. We want to be serial innovators rather than somebody who has to go and implement each and every product and build a marketing team and then, the entire process of implementation, collections, all that.
So we are just talking about plastic from the start. So many people say that even that video itself, people said that we should find another ways of stopping plastic as well, because the things that like you people are doing, it's at the end of the tunnel once the plastic has been used and has been thrown out. So we need to find some things so that we can reduce the amount of plastic itself. So do you have any ideas about that?
Yes, I feel about 40, 50 years back, our forefathers made the mistake of allowing the plastic to go into the market, which does not reflect the life cycle cost. It does not reflect the end of life cycle disposal cost. So they said, okay, we will sell this cheap product today, and our next generation will worry about the disposal. And they will worry about what our plastic is getting collected in the oceans and rivers and things like that. So I feel if the cost actually reflects, if you factor in that cost, saying that this plastic bag is not 1 rupee, it is actually 4 rupees, because under 3 rupees you have to keep aside because someone has to dispose it one day, recycle it one day. Then it will become rational. It will not only become rational, the other alternative that some people are developing, they will get scaled up faster if this reflects the true life cycle cost.
Okay, so it's if you most probably like in the entire world, it's about market economy, right? So until there is a fix for plastic, which will be as cheap as plastic, there will be no alternative for plastic.
No, it's a revenue model. I will say plastic has got its very useful properties if you ignore the end of life cycle disposal cost. It is very impermeable. You can take wet stuff inside and reasonably clean. It doesn't leach anything. It doesn't dissolve if you put some liquid in that. So there are a lot of benefits of that. But it should reflect the cost, the total cost. And if suppose the same plastic bag will sell for 4 rupees instead of 1 rupee because 3 rupees is being kept aside for its recycling, then the alternative, their revenue model looks better now.
Right.
The price tolerance for the alternatives increases. The market forces will start patronizing them.
Yeah. So like a carbon tax for renewable energies, right? People are like some European countries are trying to put carbon tax so that the gasoline gets more pricier, so that the renewable gases become equal.
That's right. Yes, there has to be a price to pay, because if you are burning this fuel today, you are letting some gas out, some harmful gases out. Somebody is paying the price today.
Yeah. So So the thing I was talking about was that I asked this question to almost every climate entrepreneur that I met. Is that whenever we talk about climate issues, we always talk about the image that we see on the screen all the time is that there is a there's a bear in the North Pole who is losing his habitat because of what we're doing. But the problem is that people don't care about a bear who is living on the North Pole, right? What they care about is their today's problems. So is there a problem with the branding of the climate change?
I think there is. See, at the individual level, people can give lip service, they can understand, but I don't know whether people are ready to put their hand in the pocket for that. That's a doubt. So government level, on behalf of everyone, they have to take certain decisions. And when they take certain decisions, it has to reflect the overall well-being of the community today and 20 years from now. So where they draw the line depends upon the government to government and depends on the society to society. So yeah, at the individual level, I do not think a lot of people are ready to pay money to do anything about it. So the revenue models have to adjust to reflect this cost. Like today, if we were to take out certain trucks from the road and put it in a canal next to you, and they go in a canal which is a little more environment friendly because it takes larger quantities, there may be a higher cost of operating that. To make that competitive, and this whole area is going to benefit from the less emissions, there has to be a certain cess in the whole area. How that is structured is a lot of details, but I feel the society has to support the additional cost of these measures.
So government has to step in.
Government has to decide on everybody's behalf, and that quite a lot depends upon what kind of society, which country it is, and how much they are aware about these issues.
Yeah. So, like, since we were talking about the technology a lot, so on your website there is a separate section for the technology that you have developed other than the river. So you said that most of those technologies are not known to the people. Can you count some of them?
Yeah, this ocean wave to electricity converter that we developed. And now we have designed a wave-powered boat, not prototyped yet, but that boat will run on wave power. Then we have developed this conveyors, one end in the river and one end on the land, to remove whatever gets collected. The silt trap is not mentioned there. Silt trap will help. It's a passive device that will not cost any fuel or energy to trap it, and removed by mechanical means. So overall per ton cost will reduce drastically, and we'll collect it at a location where we like. Typically, it will be a road crossing of the stream. These are some of them. Some other small things are there. I will not get into.
Okay. So have people started using it, or they are just prototyping in design phase?
No, we have sold some of them. We are not very much, sales oriented, because we are a small company and we want to put it up, and people who need that, they get in touch with us.
Okay, so let's move to the end of the interview. So I have last two questions. The first one is that, like, what is the future of AlphaMers? What do you want? What is the end goal?
End goal is we develop technologies to solve the current day problems. We become serial innovators. We do not want to really become the biggest marketing company, but we want to have a big portfolio of solutions that the market turns to us with a problem, and we create a viable, practical, cost-effective solution for that. Incidentally, I have just registered a name for water company. I'm thinking 10 years ahead, water as a resource will be scarce. How to generate, how to store, how to move it. It will be a very big question. So
You
you have
see
taken,
yourself as a more of a technology company.
yes, absolutely. Solutions, practical solutions, where our revenue comes from monetizing these technologies.
So many people from my generation are more climate sensitive, climate change sensitive, and they want to start something. So what advice do you want to give to all those inspiring climate entrepreneurs?
You need an obsessive thought inside your mind to have the energy to go through entrepreneurship. Innovation is different, idea is different, and entrepreneurship is different. Entrepreneurship can be like a roller coaster. So you need a very good anchor thought that why am I doing this? Some days are good, some days are not so good. You need a guiding thought in your mind. For me, the guiding thought is, look, I want to make my surroundings, my country better. And when I say that, I am not complaining about this official or that market or this environment or that. They are all part of the system. They are part of the working environment. I need to see a better water body around me in my lifetime, better energy efficiency in my lifetime. These are my guiding thoughts. And that's what takes me. I would be very happy if the new generation has a lot of confidence in our ability to solve problems. Because I believe the human intellect is very equitably distributed around the world. It is a great leveler for populations. Unlike oil is in some part of the world and gold mines are in some part of the world, the human intellect is very equitably distributed all over the world. And we as a country of 1.4 billion people, there is so much we can do. We just need to have more confidence in ourselves. ISRO is incidentally one of the role models for me, what they achieved. And I believe someday we will walk on those footsteps, maybe smaller steps, but on those footsteps.
So thank you, sir, for giving us the time. And I hope you achieve your goals. So best of luck.
Thank you, Ganesh. All the best to you.